So I recently started a series of videos where I am doing a complete wrong-handed AR build. Now in the first video, we went over all the parts that I'm using for this build, and I gave you a little sneak peek of the optic that we're going to be using. And that's what we have here in this box. This is the Tract Optics Toric 30mm 1:8 second focal plane LPVO. Let's check it out. I don't want to make this video super long because we are going to be doing a full review on this optic. But I do want to cover all the specs in this video. So what I'm going to do is bring a picture up on the screen of all the specs and you can pause it and check it out. Basically what I want to do in this video is just go over some of my favorite features on this, and then we're going to get it mounted on the left-handed AR, and at the end of the video I'm going to give you a sneak peek of what it looks like all put together. Now this Toric LPVO does come in two different versions. They are both 1:8 by 24 and they're both second focal plane. But this one that I have is the MRAD reticle version. And if you prefer an MOA reticle, they also have that. And it doesn't matter which version you decide to go with, the price is the same on both. Now, if you want to know what the MRAD reticle looks like, I'm going to go ahead and bring a picture of that up on the screen. And I actually like this reticle. It's very simplistic, and that's pretty much what I'm looking for when it comes to a reticle on an LPVO. Now, when you get this out of the box, you're going to notice that it does have caps on the rear and on the front. Now, they are not flip-up caps. They basically just pop off. I'm not a real big fan of flip-up caps anyway on an LPVO. I would have just ended up taking them off when I use it at the range. But I do like to have a set of caps when I have this stored in the safe or I'm throwing it in one of my rifle bags to take to the range. I like that protection of having those caps on. Now another thing I want to talk about before we dive into all my favorite features on this LPVO is the color on this optic and the finish itself. This is a very awesome looking gray color on this optic, and the finish on this is just absolutely perfect. Alright, we're going to start here at the back and work our way forward, but this does have an adjustable diopter here on the back, and it's very smooth. There's no grit, no grinding or anything like that. Just a really smooth adjustment. And then we'll move up here, and when it comes to adjusting the magnification on this, same thing. This is just buttery smooth. Now, as you can see, there is no throw lever on this, but they do have an optional throw lever you can pick up from their website, which I'll probably be getting that because I would like to have a throw lever on this, especially for when I'm shooting targets at close range on 1 power, and then I got to stretch out pretty quick. I want to be able to just grab that throw lever and throw it over to 8 as quick as I can. Now we'll move up here to the body of the optic, and like I said, this is a 30mm tube. I do have a mount for this. We'll talk about that at the end of the video when I get it mounted on the gun. And when we flip this over, you can see right here it says 1:8 by 24, made in Japan, and we'll talk about that glass here in a second. Now we're going to talk about the illumination on this, and it's really nice. Now, it does have a red dot. When you turn on the illuminated reticle, only the little dot in the center of the reticle is going to light up. Now I've already had this outside, and when I took it out, it was a really bright sunny day, and I wanted to see how bright the dot really is. So I was looking directly in the direction of the sun, and it does wash out. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's daylight bright, because it's not daylight bright. Now on a cloudy day, a dreary, rainy day, whatever, it's going to be just fine, but you are going to have to run it on the 10 power if you want it to be somewhat like using a red dot. But if it's super bright out and the sun's out in front of you, it's not going to be daylight bright. Now this does run on a CR 2032 battery, and it is very easy to get to the battery. Now I already have it installed, but you're just going to turn this outer cap. It does have an O-ring seal on it, and there's your battery. And just like everything else on this optic, it's very smooth taking that cap off. Now the really nice part about the illumination on this is that there is a stop in between each brightness setting. On some LPVOs, if you want to go all the way up to 10, which is pretty much how I'm always going to be running this, you would have to go all the way around to get to the 10 power on the illumination, and then go all the way back to 0 to shut it off. That's not the case on this one. And you do have that stop in between each one. So if we turn it this direction, we're on the 1 power for the illumination. We turn it again, and it shuts off before we get to 2. And what's really cool is you can go the opposite direction with it. So if you want to go right to 10 power, boom, just like that, and you can just go back, and it will turn the illumination off. So let's talk about the glass in this Toric a little bit. If you look back here, it does say Ultra HD. Now this does have a fully multi-coated lens, and it is an ED lens, which stands for extra low dispersion. And this optic is using Schott high transmission glass. And I must say, it's pretty awesome. Now I already showed you the O-ring seal on the battery cap, and this whole optic is waterproof and fog proof. So you have O-rings on everything that comes off on this optic, and it is purged with argon gas. So now I want to dive into the turrets on this. So we'll start off with the elevation. These do have removable caps, and if you look here at the top of your turret, it says 1 click equals 0.2 mrad. And it's very easy to see the down and up. You've got the arrows pointing, the D and the U. Now, as far as your adjustments go, very tactile and audible. Nice solid stops between each click. Very impressive turrets on this. Now, the best part about these turrets is that they are toolless when you want to adjust them. So once you get this LPVO dialed in wherever you want it, whether you're going to do a 35-yard 0, 50, 100, whatever you choose, once you have everything dialed in, just like the battery cap, this comes off. You don't have to use a coin, a flathead screwdriver, anything like that. I'm going to set this down, and this comes right off. And the numbers on this are pretty small, and it might be a little hard to see, but you have the 0 right there, and right here on the back, you have a mark. Now you can take your turret, right where it says 0, lay that right back on there, take your cap, and thread that right back on. And if you look here at the bottom of the turret, you do have another O-ring right here, which is going to keep all the water out of this optic. So if you're out hunting or shooting competition in the rain, nothing to worry about. And we'll just go over the windage real quick. Everything's going to be exactly the same. You've got the 1 click equals 0.2 mrad. You got your L and your R with the arrows pointing, very easy to see. And same deal here. Very positive clicks, very tactile and audible. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and hold the mic up to it so you can hear what I'm hearing. Now, before I get this mounted up on the rifle, let's talk about the warranty that you get from Tract Optics. This does have a lifetime warranty. And what's super cool about this, it does not even matter if you are the original owner. The warranty is transferable, and there is no paperwork needed. I'm back from the bench and I've got the optic mounted and I am very happy with it. I've got this thing set up exactly where I want it. And this build is pretty much complete. I got a couple little tweaks I got to do on it, but it's ready to go to the range now. So I told you at the end of the video that we would talk about the price of this LPVO. And this is, like I said, not your typical budget LPVO that I test on this channel. And if you decide to pick one of these up, it is going to run you a little over $1,000. But I can tell you from what I'm seeing out of this optic so far, it's worth every penny and probably quite a bit more. And I do want to get into a little backstory about Tract Optics because I have actually interviewed the owners of the company. I've done some online business meetings with them, and John are great guys. Now, John have had Tract Optics now for years, but they also used to work at Nikon. And if you're not familiar with Nikon scopes, they don't make them anymore, but they did have quite the following. And they actually had some really nice scopes with some really nice glass. And John were a big part of that. Now, the other super cool thing about this company is the fact that they sell direct to the consumer. There is no middleman. You go to the website, you order a scope, and it gets shipped directly to your house. All right, last thing we're going to talk about, the mount I used. I know I'm going to get a lot of flack because this is a Monstrum deadlock mount on an LPVO that cost over $1,000. And I told you in the first video, this is kind of a mock-up thing. I want to see if I'm going to like this setup exactly how it is. And then in the future, as this build progresses, we'll go and buy a higher-end optic mount. But for now, this is going to work just fine. And honestly, I really like this mount. It's really well built. Seems to be really good. So who knows? I may end up just leaving it on here. I don't know yet. The next question people are going to ask is, why is the LPVO sitting back so far? Because when you see a lot of guys mount LPVOs on an AR, the back of the optic is pretty much flush with the back of the charging handle. Well, I'm 6'3" and I have very long arms. And when I shoot an AR-15, I have the buttstock extended all the way out, which pushes that LPVO pretty far away from my eye, and I cannot get the eye relief or the eye box that I need, like a lot of other people that are smaller than me. But this is just how I choose to run my scopes and LPVOs. Alright, if you're not subscribed to the channel, this is basically the second video of this series, and there is going to be a lot more. We're going to have a full review coming out on this optic. We're going to have the range review with this build when we're done. We're also going to be running this suppressed to see how it runs suppressed. So we got quite a bit coming up with this in the future. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.